just didn't make me want to come to school.
It was based on these issues and really not anything to do with the cultural background, that I felt that she needed more from the school community in terms of structure and support than what a typical student would receive who's not in special education. When we reconvened, and even though her skills are quite strong academically in terms of her reading and writing skills, her performance in the classes was not at the level we would have predicted given her ability, and it was clear it was the emotional issue that was interfering with her functioning.
There were some assignments she hadn't recorded yet?
Of course, prior to a committee making a decision about evaluation for special education, we try a number of pre-referral intervention techniques.
And I was thinking that perhaps a girls group, a support group of girls within the school might help Vanessa get some peer relationships going.
In addition to being very open to the evaluations conducted by the other members of the team, and not necessarily formal evaluations, but information provided by teachers, parents, counselors who know the child. All these issues in terms of interpretation depend upon the psychologist really understanding and knowing who the student is. And I think the key thing to keep in mind is if a child is in crisis, is not coming to school, is talking suicide, or is threatening to give up, you have to work quickly. If you had 3 wishes and you could wish for anything at all, what would you wish for now?
Some friends.
The Child Study Team determined that Vanessa's emotional issues were the primary reason for her difficulties in school. Vanessa's cultural background certainly was an important aspect in her life, but played a secondary role in her adjustment to school. The school's Child Study Team was able to support Vanessa and her family through a difficult time and ensure her success in school through supportive interventions that included forming a close partnership with Vanessa's parents to plan and monitor progress on her individual education program, structuring an academic program that met Vanessa's individual needs and ensured access to the general curriculum, providing ongoing individual and group counseling and adult mentoring. Vanessa, Jalen, Joel, and Dew schools had created environments that honored cultural diversity. Within these culturally competent school settings, the parents and child study teams were successful in creating interventions and programs that fostered each child's learning potential.
Every student has been raised in a culture and is cultured. You see, assessment is different than testing. You know, testing may be a part of assessment. Assessment is a matter of trying to discover the information that I need in order to work with a student so that they gain the highest benefit. So that assessment then is based on deep knowledge of patterns of success and failure.
Best thing a psychologist can do when they give this test is to be able to understand the child's strengths and say, if I know what they do well, I can help them learn. The closer the tests tie in to theories of development and learning, the greater the matchup between what they can do well and how they can learn in school.
It simply requires, first and foremost, that we have an understanding of the child, the full child, not only in terms of the intellectual abilities or limitations that that child might bring, but also the background, if a child is coming to us from a different culture, and understanding from a pedagogical perspective that communication is such a critical part of teaching and learning. So a multicultural, multilingual education becomes a significant process here.